Okay, I'm in Coventry today and spent a little bit of time with Bina and Dion coming on a few viewings. I just said to them actually this morning that it's ages since I've been on viewings and I absolutely love this part of property. And I've seen people make mistakes. So I want to communicate with you about the mistakes that people are making and how you can do better. We've had one viewing with an agent, we've had one viewing which is direct to vendor. So let's talk about them in order. So first of all, the viewing that is with the estate agent. Within 5 or 6 seconds of going into that property, it was clear that the property wasn't right. It wasn't going to work, the numbers weren't there, it needed too much work. You can identify that kind of thing straight away. Now, at that point, I'm still going to go around, I'm still going to show the agent that I'm putting my time into having a look at the property because they've come there. Like the agent said actually, she doesn't get paid for coming to do viewings, so the last thing that I want to do is just walk away and go, it's not right, I'm not interested, and walk away. That is not the right approach because that's going to piss the agent off. But what we did was, we changed our focus to go from the property to the agent. And I spent my time walking around the place with the agent, talking to the agent, building rapport with the agent. Now, she was really helpful. She was actually really, really good. But with her, what I was asking her, the kind of questions that I was asking to sort of build the relationship, to go further with her was, have you got any properties yourself? Do you rent this kind of property out? Would you take this property on? Do you do any flips yourself? Because I'm trying to find out what decisions she's making. Now, she came back to us and she said she's got 2 people on her list that she passes all of her properties onto that are investment properties. Flips or properties to sell, to add to their portfolio. She has 2 people on her in her little black book. So now what we're going to do is, we're going to go back to her tomorrow, we're going to give her feedback on the property, we're going to show her that the property doesn't work from a financial point of view, but we're also going to nurture that relationship. I'm going to show her why it doesn't work, but I'm also going to ask her, you know, if you find something that does work, why don't you want to do it yourself? Why don't you want to, you know, do this flip yourself or add something to your portfolio yourself? Because potentially we could work together to achieve that. So now what I'm doing is I'm expanding her options. I'm giving her more choices to make more money out of property, which means that she's more likely to come to me. She was very, very knowledgeable about Coventry, about each of the different postcodes in Coventry, so she is absolutely brilliant to try and nurture that relationship with. If you get an estate agent that isn't, if you get an estate agent that's actually quite blunt and doesn't really want to engage with you, it's raining even heavier now, then probably not going to have that conversation with them. The second thing that I want to say is about the whole sort of fake it till you make it. We went in there in a very open way. I actually didn't talk about myself in any way with that estate agent. I was just asking her questions. What is it you do? What properties do you like? You know, what kind of things are you looking for? Get people talking about themselves. Because the last thing you want to do is go in there and just jabbering about yourself, because they don't care. They just want to sell a property to you. But now I've given her the option of working with property in a different way. Now she is interested. Now I can start talking about myself. But the first thing that you should do is start talking about them. The other thing that I want to talk about is the way that you dress when you go on property viewings. Okay, this is my kit. Thank you. You got in the trainers, right? So this is my kit for going on property viewings, because what I don't want to do is, I don't want to come across as somebody that hasn't got a bean. So I don't want to dress too scruffy, and I don't want to dress like I don't want to bring my Gucci I haven't got a Gucci handbag, but I don't want to bring like a fake Gucci handbag and pretend to be this huge property investor. That is the wrong perspective. I just want to be like sort of smart casual, but also a bit comfortable and, you know, very relaxed, because I want to engage with them. And if I come dressed to the nines, I'm probably not going to engage with them. They're probably going to look at me and think, well, what the hell are you looking at? Why are you looking at this shithole in Coventry? You know, dressed like that. That doesn't make any sense. It's not congruent. I don't understand it. And you're less likely to build rapport. So that's the estate agent viewing. Secondly, the direct to vendor. Now, the reason that we went direct to vendor was because the estate agent wasn't passing details on. They weren't being very helpful. So we contacted the people directly. And we went in there, and the person that I was with immediately started talking about themselves. And you know what? That is a mistake. Again, you've got to get people talking about themselves. These guys are selling a block of studio apartments which has 216 tenants, right? And they built it up from scratch. So these guys know what they're talking about. They've been doing it for a while. You've got loads of different angles to talk to them there. You know, what was it when you bought it? How long did it take you to refurb? You know, what are your tenants like? How do you manage them? What are your systems? You know, all of that kind of stuff. Start getting them talking about themselves. That's what people like. Because if you start talking about yourself, again, they're just going to be thinking, who's this dickhead? Yeah, I'm not interested in you. So get people talking about themselves. We then went on a viewing of the whole block, and I think another mistake people make when they're talking to, especially direct to vendor, it's really shocking it down now, is they think, right, I've got to make some kind of offer. I've got to make them think that I'm serious. But again, I sort of stepped in at that point and said, look guys, thanks for showing us around. It's absolutely brilliant. We need to go and have a chat about this, and then we'll get back to you. Now we've come to, I mean, this is the Premier Inn, would you believe? So we've come to this Premier Inn, we've had a coffee, we've sat down, we've worked out a way where we can make this work. We can make this work for them, and we can make it work for the local franchisee here. And that's by listening to what they're saying to us on the viewing, and then using that information to structure a deal. Really interesting thing that they said on the viewing, which was, we've nearly paid off the mortgage now, and they're asking nearly 11 million quid for this thing, and they haven't got much of a mortgage left. Immediately my brain's thinking, wow, okay, that gives us options. That gives us options, because they don't necessarily need all of that 100% of that 11 million quid on completion. So let's structure that in a way where they're still getting a lump sum, they're also getting rental income, they're also getting security of the ownership of shares to the value of their outstanding equity, but the franchisee can make 50% of the rental income, which is like a 5-figure sum every month. All about listening, get them talking, listen to them, and then walk away, come up with a structure, and you can use your support person to come up with this structure with you, and then work out how you're going to make it happen. So 2 viewings today, very, very different viewings, but I wanted to jump on here to give you like my sort of insight. I don't do viewings very often now. It's proper exciting, because this is making things work. This is all about the chase. The chase is the most exciting bit for me. So that's what we've come for. I hope you find this really useful. This is only available to source franchisees on the new Workplace platform, and I hope you're enjoying that as well. But if you've got any questions, just let us know. Thanks guys.